This is Werewolf, the Apocalypse Earthblood. We're on Xbox Series X, which apparently has its own special release of this particular game. We're getting 60 FPS. We are getting no HDR support. The game does have Dolby Atmos support, which is kind of odd. And for the resolution, we don't have full details, but I was told it's at least 1080p, so that's fantastic. It is optimized for the platform, and yeah, it does actually run decently well. And it's a game about werewolves, so that's cool. The game itself is basically asking to be put out of its misery with a silver bullet, though, because it's really not that great. If I had to say meh, it would be pretty meh. So this is a game of combat and stealth sequences that 95% of the time end up in a fighting sequence. It's just not the best systems. Anyways, story-wise, you're Call, a powerful Garu who chose to go into exile for 5 minutes, which I guess was 5 years in the game, and then you come back and you are in a crucial role in the Great War between the Garros and the Endron. That is a powerful oil company that serves the Worm, something like that. So anyways, you can transform into a wolf and Krynos, a huge ferocious werewolf beast. And yeah, this is a single player game. It's very linear, but strangely has these somewhat open worlds. Like, it's just bizarre. Wherever they've got their little cave area where the werewolves sleep and live, it's like 2 feet away from every single oil facility or refinery or mission you need to go to. I'm genuinely shocked that they haven't been found out by the companies yet. I know there's some kind of hiding thing going on in that regard, but yeah, at the same time, it's just kind of hilariously silly. But if you can take that out of the fact, it's kind of interesting. Like, I think this part of the gameplay is kind of fun, but it is insanely repetitive because you are fighting the exact same set of troops over and over and over, and then again, and then another time. So that gets really boring, and then like the animation work isn't really great in regards to like any of the cutscenes or cinematics. A lot of the story beats aren't very well done. The narrative is very generic. The characters are very generic. The RPG elements where you're kind of making slight audio choices, like, you know, you kind of make some choices here or there, they don't matter at all. The loading's fast, though. And I gotta say, technically, there's not really any issues with the game, like, in terms of it running or performance or anything like that. I did have a brief moment where the audio kind of vanished in one scene, and then I pressed the start button, and then I pressed B, and then the audio was back. So I'm not really going to count that as any sort of strike against this one. I'd say performance-wise, it does a good job. Now, outside of that, you know, it feels like a 360 era game. Like, it feels really, really old. I think, you know, kind of loading-wise between these different areas, it's decently impressive, because you can just kind of go through large spans of area without any sort of, like, loading in that. Just in terms of, like, it's one smooth level, right? And then it kind of loads at the end once you're done. But the areas are very similar, and it's just, I don't know, it just feels like such a okay game. Like, it's not bad. I found it insanely boring. Like, it was really, like, these fighting sequences are super fun, super cool, and then you do them so many different times, like, room after room after room. So it's basically like a little bit of stealth as a wolf, go, open a door, turn off a turret, and then eventually you get found out, or there's a guy you can't stealth kill, and you have to fight everyone anyways. Like, I don't even get the point of turning off the alarm boxes, because then the troops get called out anyways from them, and they just appear out of the doors as though it's like they come from a black space. Like, it feels like a game from multiple generations ago that just has cleaner fluidity, and like, I wouldn't even say the visuals or anything too spectacular. And you just fight the same things over and over again. I think this is a universe that's kind of like ripe for some really cool stuff. And there's some bosses, like some boss fights. It's just, like there's no real meat to the game. Like it's decently long, I think, as a single player game. I believe you'd play it once and you'd never touch it again. And there's like a skill tree system, which kind of seems unnecessary. It really doesn't do anything. It's not too in depth. It's pretty basic. But you'll play it and you'll just be done with this one. So I mean, if you get it at a decent, kind of price range and stuff, I don't think it's too bad. Like I said, if you are interested in the game, there's nothing technically wrong with it. It's just kind of not very good or great or interesting. And the story is just like really awkwardly done. The voice acting isn't great. It's not really exciting. It's not very interesting. It's just kind of like you're there. And then the fighting sequences with the werewolves are cool. And I will say, the fighting sequences are really fascinating from a technical standpoint, in the fact that everything can just get absolutely shattered. And you can unleash some cool, like, combo type moves, and you can go into, like, a frenzy and smash and slash things, and you can do all these different werewolf type things. And they do have, like, a couple areas to the game. Like, you've got your your starter forest area, and then it's, like, a little bit of a desert spot. So things mix up a little bit in terms of scenery in the outside area, but when you're in these buildings, they all kind of look the same. They all kind of mash together. But you're just doing, like, the same things over and over again. And I think for a game that wants to do stealth, it does it so... Like, I don't think I've seen such a poorly implemented stealth system in a game before. It becomes a little more bearable once you get, like, an ability that kind of makes you less visible to folks when you're moving around it. But it's just, like, I don't know if the AI is, like, ultra dumb or ultra alertive or something like that. Like, it's just... It's weird how they should see you sometimes, and then times when they shouldn't see you, they do see you. It's like it's also hard to track where they're seeing or what they're doing, and it just always devolves into like a fighting sequence, even with my best efforts. Like, I've done a full stealth sequence, I think, twice in the game out of, like, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 encounters. Like, there's like 10 or so encounters a level or something like that, where you're going room to room just fighting stuff. Which gets tiring because it's the same thing over and over again. I think there's, like I said, a couple times, like a handful, where I was like, whoa, I actually did this stealth-wise? That's unbelievable. Like, you just feel absolutely shocked that that was something that actually happened. But like I said, like, if this came out a couple generations ago, I'd be like, oh, this is a really solid, good game. But at this point, it feels so bland, like, so... all right. Like, the wolf thing here is cool. Being the werewolf is cool. I don't mind the lead character. It's weird to talk about, right? Because there's not necessarily, like, a huge problem with the game, other than the fact that it's repetitive and boring and bland and lacking a soul. But, like, I think the right pieces were here, but I don't think the execution perfectly made a great game. This is very much a okay game. Like, it's alright. Like, it's definitely playable. Like, by no means is there any issue with the game. It's just, like I mean, from a technical standpoint, as I keep saying. But it's just, like, it's not great. It's not good. It's okay. I know that's a weird kind of thing to get to, but that's really what I've been thinking of while I've been playing it. At the beginning, I was like, oh, cool, it's super gory, really intense, and then after a while, I'm just like, I am so bored of this. It's the same thing I'm doing over and over again, and it's like, it's got, like, faults, but for a lot of the time, I tend to look past some issues in games because, they're so complex and stuff like that, and whatever, I'm pretty easygoing, but it's just, like, they stand out a lot in this one because it just feels so, like, the animations feel so rough, it feels so aged. It seems like they didn't have the full budget to necessarily realize their vision, because it's like there's an opening thing and then he's exiled himself for 5 years, but it's like a 2-minute mission you're doing, and then all of a sudden you're just right back at the clan. It's like you don't really feel any passage of time or anything like that, and it's just like, it's weird narrative wise how this kind of comes together. Like, the whole game itself, just ultimately, it's all right. It's very fine. I think if you're wondering if it's how it's running, everything like that, loads fast, looks decent, fluidity's good. I didn't notice any drops or anything like that, and it performs okay. It's just I don't know what else to say about it. It's fine. Like really, it's just decent.